part 9. I am so sorry about the other video that it cut off. The audio just went out like towards the end, so I don't even know what happened, but I decided just to go ahead and post the beginning part because it was good content and I didn't feel like doing it again. So anywho, let me make sure everything is good with audio. Okay, we're good. So part 9, I'm going to continue talking about all of this. You're welcome, because I started writing things out so I can stay on track. So the guy at Chick-fil-A that I was flirting with, it got pretty hot and heavy. We used to talk, not hot and heavy, like we were actually doing stuff. We did kiss though, but we'll talk about that in a minute. Also, don't look at my nails. I'm about to get them done tomorrow. Mind your business. Anyways, so the guy at Chick-fil-A, like, we used to text talk all the time. Obviously, like, we worked a lot together, so I would see him a lot at work, and it was exciting. I was excited. At this point, he knew, like, I wasn't down for my husband at that point because he clearly was abusing me. Everybody knew that. I didn't talk about it much, but it was like a known thing at work. So anywho, I remember driving home one day, and I was texting this guy like the entire time I was on my way home. I pull up into my driveway and I'm still texting him I'm enjoying this texting. And I pull into my driveway like an idiot. I pull into my driveway and I'm just kind of sitting in the car, like wrapping things up, like talking to him. And I remember the guy texting me something about sex, like how he wanted me or something. Y'all, I'm sitting in the car, like, just kind of like looking at the text message, like about to write back. Now, mind you, again, he didn't speak English. I was like going back and forth between Google Translate so I can translate what he was saying and then translate what I wanted to say in Spanish. A mess. I'm sitting in the car doing that, and all of a sudden I hear somebody pulling on the door handle and then banging on the window. Shit, I messed up, y'all. It was my ex-husband at the time, standing at the window, and he was looking at all of my text messages with this guy. I wish I remember this guy's name. I really don't remember. I don't know. I have no idea what this guy's name was. Anywho, so I messed up. I'm in big trouble now. I mean, if there was a time where I knew I was going to get beat, it was this time right now. I didn't want to get out the car. I was terrified that I got caught. He immediately gets on the phone and he calls one of his friends, one of his good friends, the one that I talked about before where we stayed over their house, his younger brother. He called him on the phone. He was screaming and yelling, hitting the car, and then he like started telling his friend, like, she's cheated on me, she's having sex with another guy, like, he was just like screaming, going ballistic. I think his friend was actually working up the street close to our house. His friend ends up coming to pick him up. I wouldn't get out of the car. Like, I'm not about to get out of the car. Like, I'm stupid, but I'm not stupid. Like, I'm not about to get out of the car. So I was literally just sitting in the car. And he was like going ballistic. And then his friend eventually picked him up and he was gone for a couple of days. So he was really upset about the fact that I was talking to somebody else. Granted, if it was a regular, loving, healthy marriage, I would get that. Like, I would completely like give him that. Like, yes, absolutely, you should blame me for everything. But he never took accountability, and he never like reflected on how we got to that point. He never thought about, oh yeah, I was flirting with 2 girls at work. Oh yeah, I tell my wife she's, ugly. I tell her she's not pretty. I don't give her attention. Oh yeah, I, just broke my wife's phone. Oh yeah, I just, threw plates across the kitchen. Oh yeah, I just, hurt my wife. Like, he never thought about it in that way, clearly. And the thing about narcissists, and I'm gonna slowly introduce narcissism in this, because I know a lot of people say like their exes are narcissists, and they may have narcissistic behaviors, but to actually be a narcissist, like, this guy, my ex, was textbook. Like, if I had the book right now, I would bring it out, and then you guys would know who my ex-husband is, because I would flip around the book and show you the picture of his face right next to the definition of narcissist. But I'm not going to do that, but I will read the definition. I will read the definition of a narcissist, because, honey, spot on. But we're going to do that later. I do want to continue talking about a little bit what happened, because we lived in 3 different places in our marriage. We lived in Atlanta, the one that was closest to the city of Atlanta. We lived one that was in Cobb County, and then our final place that we lived was in Fayette County, all in Georgia. So that kind of helps you, like, well, it's not gonna help you. It's gonna help me organize my thoughts, because stuff happened in different places. So right now we're living in this house in Cobb County. He's working at the restaurant that's up the street that is owned by his best friend's girlfriend's parents. We had to hook up with that. We're still waiting on his green card. We're still waiting on all of that stuff with immigration. And yeah, so the house in Smyrna, Cobb County, I also hate that place. That house is where I wrote my suicide letter. It is where I wrote the letter to my son, apologizing to him for not being there for the rest of his life. I am not gonna cry, because why? That's weird. Okay, it's not weird. If you feel like crying when you talk about your story, don't mind me. It's weird for me because I'm not in that space right now to even like feel emotions, but apparently when I speak it out loud, it brings the emotions back. This house had a deck, a really, really high deck, and there's like no stairs that went down to the backyard, so it's just a really high deck. And so many times I have thought about jumping off of the deck, and I guess you can call it suicide ideation, or suicidal ideation. Somebody correct me in the comments what it's called. But I think that is when my thoughts of suicide really, really, really started manifesting in my mind while I lived in that house, because things escalated so much with the abuse. It's escalated so much with my depleted self-worth. And it's like, what else do I have to live for? That's what I thought at the time. So we're going to get a little bit more into that in a second, and a little bit more into what happened in that house in Cobb County.